Hello guys, this is Lewis from Brintech Customs. On this episode, number 2, we will show you what goes involved in the AC system. We've changed it quite a bit from the factory unit, which is this guy here. We'll also be addressing the cooling system with an upgraded radiator and fan package. So stay with us and watch. Welcome to our part 2 technical diary of the S54 E30. On this video we want to show you guys the next step that we do before we actually get to the point of fitting the engine in, and it's taking care of the AC system. The whole idea with this whole project is to keep the car as nice to drive as possible, and so it can be really enjoyed, especially here in Australia with the weather that we have here. So AC system, very important. Now, at the start when we started doing these projects, obviously one of the main focuses was to try and keep costs down for the customer, and also the turnaround time to make it just a little bit quicker. So at the start we just used to focus on the engine, getting the engine running right, the cooling system, and we didn't really address much of the other accessories and so on. But what we found is that we kept on having some issues with especially with the AC system, just not working as efficiently as we would have wanted it to, and in some cases just failing completely. So after looking at the reasons behind it, the best idea that we could come up with is to replace all the major components and just to have a good cold working AC system. So we're going to show you here. So this is the standard unit that comes on the E30s. So this one's actually not in bad shape, but what we found with this one when I removed it, the two top fittings here, they just snapped off, which this is the outlet. Other than that, structurally it looks pretty solid. But what I want to show you is one of the reasons why these systems fail. You know, you got to think that the car's nearly 30 years old now. So if we look at this is one of the AC pipes that came out of the AC condenser. So this one has just been removed, and I'll show you what comes out of it. So this is just a build-up of rust inside the pipe. Just have a look, see if we can see. I don't know if you can see a little bit there of just the color of the pipe inside. Although these pipes are treated when they are made, everything has its time, and it eventually will give up. You can probably see it a little bit better on this one. Okay. So it's probably easier and cheaper for me to fly the moon and back than to try and find a brand new AC condenser and piping from BMW. So the next best thing that we could come up with is we can buy these brand new AC condensers, and they are a universal unit. So we've got to make them work, we've got to make them fit. And this is the perfect size. It's pretty much identical size as the factory unit. And we make our own custom brackets to fit the car, which it helps us in this case anyways, because we need to push this forward towards the front of the car to give us room to fit another fan between the condenser and the radiator. Now, with the S54 in place, there is very little room to get a fan between the motor and the radiator, and that has been another issue that we've had to address is in the cooling system. And so instead of just relying on the one fan at the front, which is that one there, in order to not just rely on that to cool the AC condenser and the radiator, we've pushed these forward towards the front of the car. We can get another fan now sitting up against the radiator, and that acts as our main cooling fan for the cooling system. So I will show you how this fits in there now with the brackets just made. Okay. So this will just go there. Got the screws here. This leaves our outlets and inlet in the same factory position, just in a slightly different spot. But since we are making custom lines as well, we are fitting a brand new receiver dryer. For the AC pump, we use one from the E30, so they are still fairly new, very functional, and they're actually very efficient. So because we're making all custom lines, it doesn't really matter the style of fittings that are going to the pump. It's all getting made brand new, using brand new lines, brand new fittings. And yeah, so there's another bracket that goes underneath here, which is this guy here, and this fits at the front. So this fits right there. That helps to just support and avoid some of the vibrations from the system. So we've got here, got a couple of the new fittings, new receiver dryer. This is just a factory E30 receiver dryer unit. All right guys, so this is a new AC condenser. So we use, for the fan, we use a spiral fan, very powerful, and although the size is very compact, it is more than enough to make this system very efficient. So yeah, brand new units as well that get fitted to the kit, just to avoid any further issues. The whole idea of this project is to try and do it once and try and do it right. So yeah. All right guys, so this is the radiator. This is what we're going to be using on the E30s. Now as you can see, I've cut a nice slot in there in the tank, and another one on this end. And so what we're doing with these, you can buy these off the internet or wherever radiator suppliers there might be around the world. They call it triple flow, sometimes they call it N flow. The point and the idea is coolant goes in, it's got to come across this section here, then it drops down, then it comes across again on this section here, then it drops down, and it comes across one more time before it outlets back into the motor. So the coolant gets cooled 3 times past the radiator. On a street car, if you're not having any overheating issues, this is probably not going to do much for you. But on a race car, drift car, circuit car, whatever it might be, if you're finding that after a couple of laps, engine's getting right up there in the temp, you've got to do a few cool down laps so you can go again, you will find that this will actually help you quite a lot. Speaking from experience, it works really well. So on the E30s with the S54s, on the street, we are actually seeing higher temperatures than we would when we do an M54 conversion. And so as the development went on, we're always looking for better ways of doing things. This was the best next thing. And so this actually works quite well on the street for street application. And if they want to take it to the track, obviously we're doing all this work for a customer to enjoy it, not just to go shopping and put your groceries in there. So it needs to be able to keep up. So pretty straightforward. These are actually a bit hard to find here in Australia. So, because we know a bit of fabrication, we do it ourselves. So, as I showed you just before, it's just a slot in there with a plate. It gets cut up right into the shape of the tank. Slots in there, and then we weld it back shut. Now, one of the other things I'll show you is nothing fancy, but it's just the fan that we are using at the moment. This one here, we use the brand Spal. These are very powerful fans, and we have learned that you cannot wire these up straight onto your E30 wiring. They will constantly blow up fuses. They draw a huge amount of current when used as a switch. So what we are doing with these, obviously doing the new wiring, but we are using the PWM circuit that the factory S54 uses. So we wire all that up into the car and into the ECU. So it operates on a PWM, which means it switches it on gently and spins it up to speed with whatever the temperature is and whatever the cooling system it requires. So in order to do that, there's a few extra sensors and so on that we've got to hook up so the computer's happy to operate using the PWM. We will show you that in the episode of the wiring. It's probably still a few episodes ahead, but I will go through that into a bit more detail in that episode there. So yeah, that's it. This is going to go onto the radiator. We've got the triple pass modification done. Now, while I'm here, I might as well show you how hot it gets here. Now, if you're an Aussie and you're watching this video, you already know, you don't need to know that. 7 Hills, 39 degrees, that's Celsius. Tomorrow we are expecting over 40. So that is why we're taking our cooling system serious. Thanks for watching, guys. That concludes episode 2 of the air conditioning and cooling system. I will show you once the engine is in and we have the AC compressor and everything in position. We'll show you how we make the lines, how they all go together and how it all looks all finished up on the engine bay. Thanks for watching, guys.